Good evening, everybody. How are you all doing? It's Sunday at 8:01. I hope you've all had a good weekend. Got to do a lot of nothing and relax. Get back to the grind tomorrow. Supposed to be hot as hell this week. Like I think 4 or 5 days back to back over 100 here in Maryland. And then they said with the heat index and the humidity, it's going to feel like 10,000 to 3 degrees, which is normal for Maryland. Which means the following week it'll probably snow or something here. Because Maryland doesn't have weather; it has malaria, and it changes constantly. But it was pretty nice. It was cloudy, rained yesterday in Frederick, Maryland, close to where I live. They had the Pride Festival, so that's good. I think next week we're going to have the heterosexual festival because if everybody's special, nobody's special. But liberals don't understand that everybody's not super important. We're all the same, and you can't claim to want to be the same, but then want special treatment and special laws written for you because that doesn't make you the same. That try to make you more important than you actually are. And to be honest, I don't give a crap where you park your gun at night. I don't care. Don't care who you sleep with. Don't care who you shower with. Just don't make it public knowledge. Why do you want everybody to know your private business? Why is it so important that I know who you're sleeping with and then I have to approve? No, I don't. I'm not your father. My approval should mean nothing to you, just like what you do means nothing to me. But it's a country we live in now where everybody's got to be told everything they do is right and nobody does anything wrong, and accountability is a bad word. But hey, at least we're not in New York, right? So let's get into the breaking news and then we'll get into the first segment. We got a good show. If I'm losing my voice, it's because I'm losing my voice because I got a cold I just can't kick to save my life. I don't know what I got to do to get rid of it, but it's here. So I guess we'll all just have to deal with it. All right, let's go to the first slide here. Where is it? There we go. Okay. I don't know if you heard about this. I'm sure you have. Venezuela had a massive earthquake this past week. I think it was like 7.2 on the Richter scale, which is a pretty massive event, as you can see. Thousands of people are missing. They haven't even kind of put an estimate on the death toll yet, but it's probably going to be staggering. I think Donald Trump has sent the U.S. Navy down and I think the Army to help start looking for bodies and clearing rubble and support services. I think one of the U.S. Navy hospital ships is going to be down there too, again to help provide health care and emergency care for people who need it. This is probably going to be a cleanup that takes months. I mean, that's just two buildings right there, and like an entire block is gone. So it's going to be a while. I'm sure it's going to get worse down there before it gets better. Lack of electricity, no water, nothing clean. It's going to be. And thank you, Donald. Israel's already there providing support. I'm sure other countries are going to send support too. It's just a horrible situation in a country that's gone through some horrible stuff in the past few decades. So we hope they get their stuff, get more help, and get things started going in the right direction for them. And I'm sure there's foundations you can send money to help them. My only advice is make sure it's a reputable foundation. Just because it's online does not mean it's a legit foundation. And a lot of scum are going to come out of the woodwork now and try to scam people out of money, saying they're trying to help Venezuela. So just do some investigating and educate yourself on the foundation before you send money. It won't take more than 5 or 10 minutes to find out if they're legit or not. But yeah, be very careful. It's a sad fact of life. POSs and vampires come out during tragedies like this to try to milk people who are decent and just trying to help. So just be very aware of that moving forward and respond accordingly. Because I'd hate to see somebody send money with the best of intentions and it never get there because some dirtbag stole it. I don't know if you heard about this. I'm surprised if you haven't because it's been nothing about. It's all over the news. The Supreme Court has ruled. Let me find the notes I have on this. 1 second. The Supreme Court voted 6-3 to pause prior rulings by the courts in New York and D.C. that had temporarily stopped the Trump administration from ending TPS for Haitian and Syrian nationals in the U.S. Haitians were first eligible for TPS in 2010 following a major earthquake that killed 160,000 people and displaced several million more. Since then, it had been repeatedly extended as Haiti fell into the grip of violent gangs that now controls much of the country. I don't think anybody anywhere should automatically be welcome to another country. And if you are if there's a national disaster, it should be very temporary. And temporary should be like, you can be here for up to a year. That's it. Then you'll have to go home and reapply. We are not the Holiday Inn of the world. It's not our responsibility to leave the light on for people. We have our own country to take care of, our own problems, our own things we have to deal with. And it seems that most politicians, Democrats, liberals, are more concerned with helping people from other countries and putting our country's issues on the back burner. No country will survive that way. I'm all for helping people. The Haitians have been here. They were here for the earthquake. Give them a year. Like, hey, you're here for a year. After that, you'll have to leave and reapply. If there are gang problems in your country, that sounds like a law enforcement issue. That's not an American issue. We can't be responsible for your lack of law enforcement. It's not our problem. We'll help you. If you want to send police officers from Haiti up here, we'll train them. But we're not going to just let everybody come here because you can't control your own country. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be horrible. We'll help finance your law enforcement. We'll help train your law enforcement. We'll even outfit your law enforcement. But it's not our responsibility. You can't assume that we're going to go, okay, keep coming. Can't do it. And with Syria, I think anything from the Middle East needs to be looked at with a fine-tooth comb before you let anybody come over. Just that simple. It wasn't the Amish that dropped a couple of towers in New York a little while ago. It wasn't the Buddhists. It wasn't the Mexicans. It wasn't the Canadians. It wasn't the Japanese. It was the Middle Eastern people. So we need to treat them with kid gloves and be very selective about who we let in from over there. And again, if that offends people, I'm sorry. It's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just being honest, telling you what I feel. We don't want, excuse me, we have enough bad actors in our country. We don't want to import others from other countries. We got to deal with our own stuff first. Once we get that dealt with, then of course we'll think about helping people. But yeah, temporary stuff for the Haitians and the Syrians should be a year, and then you have to reapply. It shouldn't be ongoing until the problem's solved. You get a year, and then we'll reevaluate, and if need be, you can reapply. I think it's that. Hello, Can. That's just my opinion on that whole situation. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I've been wrong before. Not very often, but it happens once in a while. What did I tell you last Wednesday on the Pulse? That we'd be dealing with them again. Guess what? They've been attacking ships. Iran's been attacking ships in the Strait for the last couple of days. And everybody's shocked. Like, oh my God, I thought we had a peace agreement. They don't want peace. They don't want peace. And I think this is where me and President Trump kind of split ways. Not that he cares what I think, but we've kind of split ways. How many more times are we going to keep playing to this game where they do something wrong, we do something back, they do something wrong, we retaliate, then they want to talk again and we go back to the negotiation table? How many times? This is the second or third time we've done this with them. How many more times are we going to keep doing this? We are going to look like a joke. If they just do what they want to do, they go, oh, time out. We want to go back to talk now. And we go, okay, sure, let's go talk. We will look like a fool. I think it needs to be made very clear at this talk that this is it. No more. You do anything again, we're going to go back to bombing you every day until you submit and surrender. We can't keep playing this game with them because this is all this is. They're testing waters. They're seeing how far they can push things before we retaliate. And how many times can they push things before we finally put our foot down? And again, they have no say over the Strait. Iran has no legal say over anything that goes on in the Strait. So why do we act like they do? Why do we capitulate and go, okay, we'll talk about that? They don't. It's international law, not just the U.S. law, not just the Middle Eastern law. It's international law that says the Strait of Hormuz is open to the world. It's not, and that's not dependent upon Iran or in their mood that day. It has nothing to do with them. We need to stop playing games with these people and allowing them to dictate law. It's written. They need to follow by it. And if they don't, there needs to be consequences. And it can't always just be us. The rest of the world needs to get off their ass and help put these people back in their place. Because the rest of the world uses the strait too, not just us. And if it were up to me, and we've been doing this all alone for as long as we have, the only ships that would be protected going through the strait would be the U.S. ships. Flagships of the U.S. Other than that, you're on your own. We're not helping you. Sorry. Y'all couldn't help us get this straightened out, but now you want to help us to help protect your ships. Not doing it. Get your ass down here and do it yourself. And that'd be it. There'd be no more discussion about that. We need to stop assuming the role of the world's hero. It's not our job. It's not our job to do everything for everybody. These other countries have navies. Let them use their navies. Tired of these other countries sitting back letting us do things. And then when the hard work's done, then they want to swoop in and go, yeah, now we're going to help you. No, we don't need your help now. And you better watch your ships because we're not going to protect them. So keep that in mind. But yeah, this is going to keep going on and on and on. It's not going to stop. And everybody in D.C. needs to quit pretending like this time will stick. This time will be the time when they're going to stop messing around. It's not. They've been like this for decades. They just take advantage of the good intentions of other countries. And this is where it gets you. Ships getting attacked, missiles getting fired, drones coming. It's not going to stop. And while they're doing this, I guarantee they're building back up their own ammunition stockpile and their troops. You can't trust them. You can't trust the regime. That regime that's in place in Iran is a religious regime, religious zealots, and they want to take over the world. So you can't believe anything they say. You need to get rid of that regime completely. You can't leave anybody there because we'll be dealing with this forever. Get rid of the regime. Let the Iranian people choose their own form of government, and that'd be that. That's simple. I don't know why everyone's making this so complicated. Bomb the shit out of them, put them back in the Stone Age, and then leave and let the Iranian people take over. That they're trying to do now. That's why they killed 40,000 of their own people, because they were trying to take control of the government. They want the government gone. They want a new form of government. And I don't understand how the people in Iran are still happy with us. I mean, we said we'd help them, and we haven't. We haven't removed that regime that killed 40,000 of those people. They're still there. Different names, same ideology. So as soon as we completely pull out, they're going to start banging on these people again. I don't understand what the aim in Iran is. I don't. If we're there just to protect the oil, then fine, make it known we're just there to protect the oil. If we're there to get rid of the regime, make it known we're there to get rid of the regime. But they need to have a plain as day reason for us being there, tactical reason. And then finish that reason, follow through. Destroy the regime, or completely control the oil so the world doesn't have to worry about Iran deciding, now we're going to do this. Something. Make a decision and stick to it and see it through. Because they're banking on the fact that we won't. And that they know the rest of the world doesn't care because the rest of the world hasn't done anything. So they're not worried about anybody else. So they need to make a decision and they need to follow through with it. And I think that this time would be perfect. Like, no, we're not going back to negotiation tables. This is the second time you've screwed around since the ceasefire. We're going to lay waste to your country. Until your regime steps down completely, the bombing will commence. Sorry. And we're going to help your people to overthrow you. I'd make it known. Stop hiding. Don't lie to them. We want you out of there. You're a murderous religious zealot regime. You kill your own people. We're going to get rid of you. We're going to help your people do it, and we're going to bomb you. So either you can bow down now and leave your country, or the ass whooping will commence at 0600. Yes, I agree with that too, Donald. All of these issues are from the Carter administration. If you remember way back then, they took the American embassy in Iran. I think it was like 400 hostages or something like that over a year. And at first, Carter tried to send in the Marines for a rescue operation. It was completely botched. And Marines lost their life. And if I remember correctly, because I was a little kid then, if I remember correctly, he paid them and we got the terrorists back. And that started the whole, like Donald just said, all the BS with Iran started because of that. We paid them. And that's when we came up, we no longer negotiate with terrorism, which obviously doesn't really mean what it means because we're negotiating with them now. So I don't know. But yeah, this all gets traced back to then. He set them up, and then we're paying for it. So I guarantee you they'll talk this weekend, maybe into next week. It'll be cool for a week, and then Iran will do something else, and it'll repeat. It'll never end. It might be longer breaks in between attacks, but it'll continue to happen, and we'll keep going back to the table to talk to them. Why, I don't know. But that's what they're going to do. I can see it now. It's just going to be a black hole that will forever take in, and we will never get anything back. If this isn't frustrating to you yet, I don't know what it will take to get you angry. We are negotiating with terrorists. I don't know. It's really, really old. To me, at least. I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of talking about, Iran this, Iran. Just be done with them. Like I've said before, we could be done with that entire regime in 2-3 days, weeks tops, a week if we wanted to. Who knows? But I'm not in charge, which is probably a good thing. So we're going to get into the first segment of the show, and it's something, and I'll show you the video that got me thinking about this, and then we can go from there. But again, this is Conservative Corner. I'm Seth Eisenberg. Thanks for being here. If you have any questions, feel free to post them up in whatever chat you're in, and if I can get to it, I will. And if I can't, don't take it personally. I'm either wrapped up in the middle of doing something, talking about something, and just was not paying attention. But trust me, I can see it. Donald can attest to that. I do see what you type, and I try to answer as much as I can when I can. And if I don't, again, it's not personal. So let me share this video to you first, and then we'll get into this.
I will say, like, when I first started taking testosterone, I was like, okay, like, I was like, whoa. Healthy masculinity to me is, or even just something I've felt as transitioning is like leaning away from whenever there is some sort of impulse or expectation you've put on yourself to like shut down or conform in a way that usually feels like this. It'll be
close
and
off.
It's just like, what the fuck, Elliot? What are you talking about? Like, oh, honey, you're the part of the problem. Mm-mm. Healthy masculinity would be healthiness for anyone to just, love themselves, be able to care for themselves, ideally get rest when they can, like just the practical basic drink water, like eat a banana, rules that I feel like end up like leading to so many of the problems that we see that are, do get inflicted by toxic masculinity.
If you didn't know who that was Elliot, excuse me, Page, or Ellen Page. That's who that was. A woman pretending to be a man who's now giving men her definition of what it is to be a man. That would be like me talking to a woman, telling her what a woman should be. It's insanity. It's insanity. So I looked up some things so I got a better understanding of what I'm talking about. So the first thing I looked up is does transgender mean? What is the definition? Transgender is an umbrella term for people whose internal gender identity differs from the sex they were assigned at birth. For example, a person assigned male at birth may identify as a woman or vice versa. Approximately 0.8 to 1.3% of U.S. adults identify as a transgender. That equates to roughly 2.1 to 2.8 million people aged 13 and older. Demographic data reveals that transgender identification varies significantly by age, with a much higher percentage among younger people. And that kind of caught me off guard. Why would younger people, identify more as being transgender than older people? Now, keep in mind, 13 and under, or 13 and older. So 13, what's it, like 6th, 7th grade? Somewhere right there. You're not in high school in 13, I don't think. You're middle school. And to put things in perspective, the human brain is not fully developed until the mid to late 20s. At age 25 is cited as a general milestone. Timeline slightly varies by gender, with female brains typically reaching full maturity a couple of years earlier than men. That doesn't surprise me. So I was thinking, so we have a brain that's not fully developed. We have children, undeveloped brain. And everywhere they look, they're being told that they're not in the right body. You have movie stars who are telling people, hey, you might be a girl. You're not really a guy. You're a woman in a man's body. You've got it all over the internet, Facebook, social media. They're being inundated with this type of stuff. Everywhere they go, they see it. And it used to be a mental disorder called gender dysphoria. There used to be a disorder that was treated by a psychiatrist or another mental health professional. But because of the LGBTQ lobby, they had it removed from the desktop physician's manual. And it's no longer there. So we have children, and that kind of explains why you have the drag queen story hours where they go to schools and read to like middle schools and elementary school students, because they're trying to tell them, hey, it's okay to be like this. And no one's saying it's not okay to be like this, but what we're saying is it's a mental disorder. It can be treated. You can talk to people. You can be medicated or whatever it is. Whacking off healthy genitalia just because you feel you're in the wrong body is not healthy, and it's not sane. I mean, just look at Elliot Page or Ellen, whatever her name is, who's pretending to be a man now giving advice to men on what it means to be a man and what toxic man is. She has no business saying anything to anybody other than to a psychiatrist. Like, hey, I really screwed up. I cut off my breasts and I've rewired myself. I don't know if you've ever seen the pictures on the internet of actual transgender surgeries from man to woman, but they look like medieval torture. And I handed someone, I was going to put them up, but then I thought better against it. I'm not doing that because they're horrible. Just imagine if you're looking at a man and his legs are in the air and you're looking at his crotch, it's a cut down the middle and a cut to the side, and they splay it open, and then they cut again and again and open it all up and just kind of push it all in to make an orifice. It's an open wound, so it never fully heals. They have to be treated for or without antibiotics for the rest of their life. And it mutilates the person. But this is that I don't understand why anybody would like Paige, why anybody would listen to anything this person said about mental health or physical health. You've destroyed your own healthy body because you had a thought. You let an intrusive thought take over. You are in no position to give anybody any type of health advice. None. You need to be as far away from a camera as anybody can be made to stay away from one. You're dangerous. And you don't even realize she thinks she's doing everybody a favor. She thinks she's like I'm a spokesperson and I'm just trying to help men. You're not a man. You can't tell me how to be a man. Never in a million years could you. You have no business telling everybody how better it is that you've mutilated your own body and how much better you feel and you're a better person for it. No, you're not. You're a sick person that needs help. And I'm not making fun of transgender people. I'm not insulting them. I'm not attacking them. I feel sorry for them. They need help. And I've used the analogy before. If a friend came to you and had a bone sticking out of their arm, and you said, hey, look, man, your arm's broken. They went, no, it's not. It's fine. You wouldn't go, oh, okay, you're good. Let's go. You'd be like, no, there's a problem. We need to get you to a doctor. We need a professional to look at that and take care of it. Why should somebody go and I feel like a woman or I feel like a man be any different than having a broken arm? Why shouldn't we get these people treatment? Why would we all of a sudden start giving hormone blockers and binders and things that hide their gender? Why would we enable that person? There are professionals that deal with this. And not all professionals are on the up and up either. Don't get me wrong. There are professionals there that push this because it's big money. There's a lot of money in transgender, a lot of money. So you'd have to be real careful who you bring your child to. But I would not just automatically go, oh, okay, let's start whacking things off of them. I mean, like I've read before, when I was a little kid, I wanted to be a pirate. I'm so glad my mom and dad didn't gouge out my eye and cut my leg off and get me a patch and a peg leg. I'm glad, Same thing with this. Just because your son or daughter goes, well, I feel like I'm a boy. That's great. You're what, 13? You don't know shit about shit yet. You just started going through puberty. And if you feel this way when you're 25 or 26, then we'll act on it. But for right now, you're a child, and we're going to have you go talk to somebody because you don't know what you're talking about. I don't know where you've heard or been told that that's how things are. That is not normal. We need to get you help. And that's what I would do. You don't got to make fun of them. You don't got to insult them. You don't got to beat them up. We need to get you help. I love you enough that we're going to go talk to a professional and get you help because this is abnormal thinking. We're not going to whack off healthy body parts just because you have a feeling. And that Ellen person should be ashamed of herself for even saying, oh, this is great. This is great. I'm so glad. Why are you so glad you did it? What is so great about the mutilation you've done to yourself? What? I don't understand these people. It's almost like they're sadists. They like the pain. I think, and another stat I found, which is I don't really agree with because I think it's a lot more than what they're saying. The current statistical consensus, peer-reviewed systematic reviews and large-scale data, such as major meta-analysis published in Plastic and Reconstructive Surgery, place the overall pooled regret after a gender-affirming care at roughly 1 to 3%. I think it's more than that. I really do. I don't think it's that low. Major medical groups point out that this is statistically lower than the regret rates for many standard medical procedures, such as joint replacements or knee surgery. Let's get something straight. Gender-affirming care is not required surgery. You can live a good life without it. Whether you think you can or not, you'll be just fine. I would say joint replacement or knee surgeries you probably really need. I don't think I got a cut on my knee. Let's go ahead and dig it out and put a whole new knee in. There's probably a medical reason why you need to have a joint replacement or knee replacement. So I would assume very few people would be unhappy with the fact they got a working knee or a working joint. But they're saying people who have gender-affirming care have less regret than the people who have joint replacements or knee surgeries. That those people are moaning and crying and complaining about having the necessary surgery done, as opposed to people who want to just whack off their testicles and their breasts. They're more happy than the people with new knees. See, I don't believe that. That's where they kind of lose me. I had knee surgery. I don't regret it at all. Then the argument arises, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying. Some medical groups and detransition or advocacy groups argue that these historical percentages may be an underestimate. They highlight a high rate of loss of follow-up in longitudinal studies, meaning many clinics lose track of 20 to 60% of their patients over a decade, making it difficult to verify if those who dropped out did so out of regret. See, that's what I think it is. I think, me too, Donald. That's what I think it is. I think these people, once they get the surgery and then realize it wasn't for them and they wish they hadn't done it, kind of drop out. They go away. They don't go back to the doctor that did it because they don't want to be told, oh, no, you're wrong. This is the right thing for you. So I think that 1 to 3% they have are people who actually stay in contact. And I believe that there's probably, I don't know if I'd go so far as to say 20 to 60% people. I would 15 to 30% people that they lose track of would fall into the group that regrets it. I don't think it's only 1 to 3% of people. Oh, I wish I hadn't done this. It's like, again, they're saying that there's more people that regret knee surgery than they do having the gender affirming care. I don't believe that. I really don't believe that. That just doesn't seem right to me. I know a lot of people have had knee surgery. I know some people have some joint replacements, and they don't bitch about it. They don't complain. Not even one. So I don't know where they get these stats. But again, I don't believe it. I think I agree with the other groups that say, hey, look, you've just lost track of people. The people that regret it are far more than 1 to 3%. You just no longer track those people. And there's no way to tell if they do. For all we know, that 1 to 3% could be like 50%. But they're not going to report that. That's their paycheck. They're not going to go, yeah, half of everybody does it wishes they hadn't done it. They're not going to report that. They're going to lower the numbers. They're going to put the numbers in their favor as much as they can, as legally as they can. They're going to do that because that will affect their paycheck. And again, it's expensive. I think it's like $20,000 for reassignment surgery. And that's an average. So it ain't cheap. There's a lot of money. And you got the pharmaceutical companies who love it because you have to be on medication after all that for the rest of your life. This isn't just like you get a broken arm set and you're done and you live your life as Molly or Mike. No, it's continuous. It never ends. The treatments never end. And apparently you still do have to go to have a psychological evaluation before you can have, gender affirming care. I don't know why, because they couldn't say you have a mental illness because everybody's screaming, yelling at them. So you say, okay, you can have it. I wonder how many people have refused that surgery. I'd like to know that. I couldn't find anything there on that. But so yeah, there's still an evaluation required. You got parents who are giving their kids puberty blockers. Parents who are giving their daughters binders that keeps their breasts flat so you can't see them. I believe at one point Target was selling underwear that tucked in the male genitalia so you couldn't see it. It's big money, huge money. And if you think for 1 second the medical community is going to come out against it, you're crazy. You're crazy. We're talking about the same medical community that told you the COVID shot was 100% safe, and we're finding out it's not. The same medical community that would push, what is it? What Medicaid? I can't. It'll come to me in a second. Trilithamide for cancer to patients back in the 60s, and it caused flipper babies. The medical community is about money. Not all of them. Again, I speak in generalities. There's a lot of good doctors in it that won't do this type of surgery because it's not necessary. It's not. But again, they're like in any profession, you have unscrupulous doctors that'll do anything for a buck. Like when you whack off your testicles, sure, let's go ahead. They don't care. And all I remember about doctors is the Hippocratic Oath. It starts off with first, do no harm. I don't think they live by that anymore. I don't even think that's required oath to take. I'm not a doctor, but from what I'm seeing, I don't believe it's a required oath anymore. First, do no harm. If they followed that, we wouldn't be talking about this because it does harm. It does more harm than good. Heck, I got a busted up foot and one of my toes has no more bones in it anymore. They won't cut it off because it's a healthy organ. It's a healthy appendage. And the doctor told me point blank, I will not remove something that's healthy. But there are doctors that will remove healthy genitalia and healthy breasts. Tell me, make that make sense to me. It's all about money. If you follow everything back to the base, it's always about money, which is sad. I'm not a boy. Yes, you're a boy. I'm not a girl. Where do I pee? That's what makes me this whole transgender thing. If you're an adult and you want to destroy your body, that's on you. I don't care. I don't care what you do. Just don't make me approve it or make me a part of it or make me pay for it. And I don't care. Children, somebody's parents, this kid's parents have failed him somewhere along the line. I'm not a boy. I'm not a girl. Where do I pee? This is what you get when you get parents that want to be their kids' friends and want to be their buddies and not be a parent. They want to look cool at the next PTA meeting. They want to be the gold medal winner of the woke Olympics in their neighborhood. So they use their children to get that done. At that age, you don't know what you want to do, let alone if you're a boy or girl. That's a parent that has failed. That parent should be. I feel sorry for the child because obviously they have parents that aren't concerned about their well-being. Their parents are more concerned, like I said, about looking woke to everybody. A real parent would have said, "Look, and it looks like a boy. I can see an Adam's apple." So you can say, "Mike, what's wrong? What do you mean you're not a girl or a boy? What do you mean?" Get him talking, and it's going to get to a point where if you're a legitimate, caring parent, it's going to get to a point where I can't help you. I don't know what to do here. I don't. So together, let's find somebody that can help you. Let's go talk to somebody together as a family and work through this. Find out what the root cause is and see if we can address it. And then you can always tell them, look, if this is how you feel now, I'm assuming that's a 14, 15-year-old. If you feel this way when you're 25, I won't understand it. I won't want you to do it, but you'll be an adult and you'll be more aware of who you are at that age. And if this is something you want to pursue at that age, then fine, I can't stop you. But right now, let's try my way. Let's see if we can work this out and find out what the problem is. And again, if you go through all the counseling and the therapy and talk to all the doctors, and at 25, Mike says no, I feel like I'm Michelle. What are you going to do? You're the parent. You've done all you can for them. They're an adult at that point. They make their own decisions. Don't have to agree with their decision, but you still have to agree. You still have to love your kid. But at this age, that's failed parenting, in my opinion. I don't know why a parent would be okay with that. That's, where do I pee? As a parent, that would break my heart if my son came and said, I don't know where to pee. I don't know if I'm a boy or a girl. That would concern the hell. That'd be my all-encompassing issue to deal with. Nothing else would matter. That would be my focus. I guess those parents aren't as concerned as they should be. Then we have this as proof that men can get pregnant. Men will get pregnant. That's a woman pretending to be a man. Biological men cannot get pregnant. I cannot get pregnant. Donald cannot get pregnant. Damon on the Jersey Shore cannot get pregnant. Damon, the producer, cannot get pregnant. Men cannot get pregnant. Women who are pretending to be a man can get pregnant. Biological men cannot get pregnant. It is impossible. Impossible. Medically impossible for me to get pregnant. On the other hand, a woman can. And if you correct them and say, no, you're not a man, you're a woman, that's how you got pregnant, they will explode on you. Say, no, I'm a man. I'm a man. There comes a point where mental illness is so encompassing that becomes their reality. That they truly believe that they are a man. And that somehow, through a medical miracle or an act of God, they've become pregnant. And you'll be no way you can convince them that they're not. This is dangerous thinking. Yeah, same here, Donald. I guess I've just lucked out. I don't know. Men cannot get pregnant, women can. And they can argue, and they don't want you to call them this or call them that, but then they make up words for straight biological men and straight biological women, cis. We're supposed to be okay with these names, but you can't call them anything back because then you're transphobe or homophobe or whatever the phobe of the day that they're using now. I don't know what the word of the day is. And again, I'm not saying you should ridicule these people. I'm not saying you should attack these people. I'm not saying you should treat them less than human beings. The exact opposite. You should treat these as human beings in crisis. How would you help someone who's trying to commit suicide? You wouldn't make fun of them. You wouldn't beat them up or call them names. You would genuinely try to help them. Get them somewhere where they can get the help. We have to show these kind of people compassion. They obviously are not mentally firing on all four cylinders. There's a problem somewhere in them mentally. We should try to help them get the help they want. Like I said with the kid, doesn't mean you force them to do anything. Like if you have a friend who's transgendered, I don't think I do. I have some friends that are, but they're not transgendered. And if my friends are watching, but if you have a friend who's transgendered, you should pull them aside and go, look, man, you're my friend and I love you. And I'm going to help you. But I can't get behind you on this, man. I can't. Because I think you're suffering. And I think you think this is going to help you. But it's not. In the long run, it's not going to help you. Let me help you help yourself. I'll go any therapist you want to go, I'll go with you. I will drive you. I will do whatever you need me to do. But let's get some help. And if they get all angry and nasty with you, you tried. You have tried. You can bring a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. And if they're truly your friend, they're not going to get upset with you. They're going to look, I appreciate it, but this is who I am, blah, 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 blah. You tried. You tried. But we shouldn't be attacking these people and making fun of them. We should be trying to get them help because that's what they need. Desperately. You have a woman trying to tell you that she's a man and men can get pregnant. That's a cry for help. There's no other way around that. Like these people, what's the new one? Gender fluid, not gender fluid, non-binary, where they're anything, like I'm an elf, a lawnmower, or a tree, or whatever. They need help. You don't enable them and play along, but you don't become nasty and mean. You just assertive. No, you're a guy. You're not an elf. You're not a horse. You're not a dog. You're a guy. You're a biological male. What are you talking about? And then, like I said, you have the drag queens that go into schools and read. A lot of people who are for that type of behavior say it's encouraging literacy. Organizers frame these events as a creative way to make reading interactive and exciting for children, using flamboyant, larger-than-life characters to capture their imagination. Then why do they come in half naked, humping the ground and dancing to get money? Why can't they dress up like Barney or whatever the big cool thing kids watch now on TV, Teletubbies, or I don't know. I don't watch that crap. My kids are all old now. They don't watch it. But why not dress up like one of those people? Why not dress up like Spider-Man or Captain America? Something like that to get people. Why do you have to dress up like a half-naked whore? Dancing around little children, humping the ground, and doing things that should be done in strip clubs. Why is that? How is that promoting literacy? They also said that the primary stated objective is to teach young children about diversity, acceptance, and preventing bullying. Supporters argue that introducing children to differences early in life helps them build empathy for people from all walks of life. It's not your job. That's a parent's job. That's not the school system's job. School system can barely teach kids how to read and write now and do math. They should not be delving into morals. That's not their job. Because a lot of parents don't agree with this. Now, don't get me wrong. If this were like drag hour at a club for adults, that's fine. That is adult entertainment, and that's where it should be. Would you let strippers go into 5th grade and dance on the pole as long as they were reading a book? Would you read letters from Penthouse to a 5th grade class during reading time? No, you wouldn't, because that's adult oriented. So is drag queens. No difference. I'll never figure people out. Providing representation for LGBTQ plus families or youth who may eventually, identify as transgender. These events are meant to provide positive representation, making them feel accepted within their group. How does that make them feel accepted? I don't understand. If only like 1 to 0.2%, how many people identify as, let's look at that. 0.8 to 0.13% of the U.S. adults identify as transgender, and that's 13 and up. That means out of a class of 20, there won't even be one in a class of 20, if you look at it statistically. Hey, Angles, how are you? So they can't say we're there just because there could be one person in the school that wants to be transgender. So we're going to have Mike dress up as Maxine, prance around half naked, having air sex, and getting dollar bills from the kids because that'll help him feel accepted. No. You know what helps him feel accepted? His parents and his friends, not some stranger half naked. We have allowed the school system to take over as parents. We've allowed the school system to decide what's acceptable for our children or what's not. This is not acceptable for children. High school, maybe under great restriction and certain conditions, maybe in high school. But middle school and elementary school, 5-year-olds don't need to see a man dressed as a woman half naked having sex on the floor. How is that educational? Just because he has a book in his hand? If that's the case, we should start letting strippers into schools dance on the pole and read from the Penthouse magazine. They're reading, but that's not acceptable. I don't homeschool. That's my best advice to anybody who has kids. Homeschool. Get them out of schools. They're not learning anything except this garbage. So get them out. And don't say, well, I can't. I got to work. There are communities, there are in every state, in every community, there are schools that are run for homeschoolers by homeschoolers, parents. They all take turns. Some go so far as to hire a teacher from the school system that has quit because they don't agree with the public education system and teach what the parents want taught. There is a way. And the only way the school system will ever change is if you hit them in the pocketbook. You start taking money out of the wallet that they get, they're going to start paying more attention to what you want. Right now, not so much. All right, let's take a break, and I'll be right back. Let me catch my breath because, man, I am sucking wind. I am sweating like a dog. This fever's kicking my butt.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, Elena, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Parler, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. Excuse me. I'm Seth Eisenberg. This is a Conservative Corner on America's Pulse Network. Thanks for joining me. Like you just saw, we have Damon Gallo, who's also running for Congress in District 1 in New Jersey, who also has his own show. I don't know if you heard me say hi to Angles. He was on the Pulse, or was it on Damon's show a couple of days ago? He's also heavily involved in politics in New Jersey, so he's and he's 15. The kid's a genius. He's got more on the ball when it comes to politics than most adults I know. Good kid. Then we have Alexandra Levine, who's also our White House correspondent. She has her own show. She's helping Tim Fazenbaker, who's also on the Pulse once in a while, who just won the nomination of Baltimore County to go on to the general election and win his position. Again, if you live in Maryland and Baltimore County, Tim Fazenbaker is a very smart man, family man. He's been involved with businesses all his life. He's got a good head on his shoulders, and he's more concerned about you than he is about the government. So he would work for you, a true statesman, not a politician. He's a statesman. So you need to support him, and you got to support Damon in District 1 in New Jersey. Justin Murphy is also a friend of the network, is running for Senate. Hardest working man I've probably met in my life. He works by himself for the most part and drives up and down the state of New Jersey every day to meet people who are his constituents, to talk to them and understand their issues and what they'd like to see done. By himself with a flip phone. The dude doesn't even have a smartphone yet. He uses a flip phone. So yeah, he's another smart dude, has a plan. All the people I've just mentioned have plans. We need to get behind them. Like I've always said, you always should support the most conservative candidate on the ballot. And that doesn't mean a ballot in your state. You can help candidates that are conservative in other states. New Jersey is a tough state for conservatives. Give them a hand. Send them money. If you live close enough, go help them do door knocking. Anything like that. If you live in Baltimore, help Tim. Money, door knocking, anything. Anything you can do to help them would be much appreciated. But yeah, that's all on the American Pulse Network. We're always looking for podcasters that are better than me, which is not hard to find. It's a very low bar. If that's something you're interested in doing, go to the American Pulse Network website and click on the menu button, and then go to become a podcaster. Click it out, fill out the application, goes to the producer. Then all of us sit around together, look at your application, and laugh and throw it away. No, we look at your application and we interview you just to make sure you're a good fit, and then bring you on board. If you're looking to sponsor the network as a whole, or one of the particular shows that are on here, with, New Jersey State Watch with Jack and Constance, you got Jersey Shore with Damon, you've got All In with Alexandra, you've got my show, and you've got The Pulse. Again, if you want to look into sponsor one of those shows, the network as a whole, again, go to americaspulsenetwork.com, menu button, sponsor, and fill out the information that's required. Always looking for help on either side, podcast or sponsorship. And if you do sponsorship, I will call you personally every night at 8 to wish you good night and read you a bedtime story. So you will get that with your sponsorship money. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, you'll get that. And I'll send you an 8x10 glossy autographed. No, I won't do that. But I will call you at 8 and wish you, tell you everybody else has here. Just go ahead and post them on the chat. If I see it, I'll get to it. And I'm doing pretty good today. I'm following my outline, so I keep looking over there to make sure I'm, excuse me, that I'm keeping up with you guys. And again, if I miss you or something, please don't take it personally. So here we go. The next segment is called Wrong is Always Wrong. And the stats may not show it. And let me go over the stats real quick. Get this up. Here we go. Where are we? Here we go. Preliminary 2025 FBI data indicates that overall U.S. violent crime dropped an estimated 9.3% from 24 to 25. Notably, murder and non-negligent manslaughter decreased at an estimated 18.1%, representing one of the largest single-year drops ever recorded. Property crime also fell by an estimated 12.4%. Not a lawyer, but property crime is anything that doesn't involve people. Vandalism, destruction of private property, nothing that causes harm to the living people. Violent crime, murder fell 18.1%. They kind of drilled it down. Robbery, 18.5%. Rape dropped 7.6%. And aggravated assault dropped 7.2%. Now, this is nationwide. I know for a fact Baltimore is still number 5 in the country for the most dangerous city in the world, country, as far as murder per capita. It's the world's largest outdoor shooting range. Good people go into their house at night and lock their doors till sunup. So I don't want you thinking that everything's peachy keen and you can now leave your doors unlocked and money on your front table and nobody's going to come mess with it. Be smart. I think most of the problem that comes with this is in this country, for some reason, we glorify criminals. We try to put them in a good light. I mean, you can look at TV shows, The Sopranos. Tony Soprano, the lead character, was a murderer. He was made to be sympathetic. You kind of felt sorry for the guy. If you watch Sons of Anarchy, Jax, the leader of the motorcycle gang, was a murderer. But they kind of put him in a position where you kind of felt sorry for him. If you watch any of the crime shows, very rarely is the bad guy cut and dry bad guy that needs to be put down like a rabid animal. And that's that. There's always some angle like, oh, if this hadn't happened to him, he'd be a good guy. So you kind of feel sorry for him. Now, I'm not saying we demify criminals. I'm not saying we should look at them any less than we look at a normal person, but just add that element. They're a criminal. Paul is a murderer. And there's no story behind Paul that will make you go, oh, well, I kind of feel sorry for him. That poor guy. We should go, Paul's a murderer, and I feel sorry for the 4 people he murdered. That's horrible. That's horrible. But that's not how it works in this country nowadays. And when you look at crime, excuse me, they use what they call a broken window theory. I took sociology and criminology in college, junior college. And when I was in junior college, I got out of the Navy. And I don't think I looked old by any stretch of the imagination. I was only like 22 or 23. But when I was in school, people would call me sir. Excuse me, sir, where's this class? Excuse me, sir, where's this building or where's this room? In one class, someone thought I was the teacher and asked if they could turn their homework in tomorrow because they didn't get it done. They were at work. I wasn't that old. I felt old then. But yeah, so I went and took sociology. The broken window theory, let me find that definition. Broken window theory is a criminology concept introduced by social scientists James Q. Wilson and George L. Kelling in 1982. It's been somewhat debunked now, but the tenets still hold true. It suggests that visible signs of neglect, such as broken windows, graffiti, and public disorder, create an environment that encourages further rule-breaking and more serious crimes. The broken window that goes unrepaired signals to the community that no one cares, and therefore no one is enforcing the rules. Now think about that. Let's look at Beverly Hills. I don't know if you've ever been to Beverly Hills. I've been to the Beverly Hills, driven through it when I visited my daughter. Very clean. No trash on the street. Everything is upkept well. Houses are taken care of. Landscaping is done. The median strip is well manicured. Very low crime. Let's go to Pigtown and Baltimore City. Abandoned buildings, dilapidated buildings, drug dealers on the corners, high crime rate. Broken window theory is onto something. It does hold water. The first thing that communities do when they try to clean up their communities, what do? Physically clean up the community, pick up the trash, board up the old abandoned buildings, fix up the houses that are there. They try to make it look better because perception is reality. So when people say, oh, you're just picking on the inner city because of crime. No, it's legit. Inner cities are dirty. Not because people are filthy, it's because it's the inner city. You've got millions of people living in 10, 15 square miles. It's going to be dirty. A lot of traffic, a lot of businesses, a lot of crime, not enough police. You live out where I live in the sticks, not a very high crime area. Well, number one, because you're pretty sure everybody who lives in your area has a gun, at least one gun, and they're not afraid to use it. So you don't go breaking into people's houses. Let me get that. So that's one of the things. Adds to the crime. And it also kind of adds like a romantic notion to crime, that these poor downtrodden people who live in these horrible neighborhoods and have no chance to get out have only one recourse. What do you expect them to do? They can't get into college. They can't do this. They got to do what they got to do. Again, trying to make people feel sorry for criminals. I don't feel sorry for criminals. I never have. Hawaii is taking it a little further. There was a law in the books in Hawaii that said you can't carry a weapon into a place of business unless that business owner gives you written permission, pretty much. Well, the Supreme Court ruled 6-3 that Hawaii's law preventing individuals from carrying a concealed firearm on private property is unconstitutional and violates the Second Amendment. In Wolford versus Lopez, the court made very clear that states cannot force every business, store, or public-facing private property to be a firearm-free zone. Private property owners themselves can make their own decisions as is their right. The ruling marks a huge win for the fundamental second right of self-defense and the rights and responsibilities of gun owners. I agree. The government should have no say in who comes into whose business. If the business owner is okay with it, there you go. End of discussion. I do believe that you shouldn't carry a weapon into a bar. Right? You mix idiot with liquor, you get drunk idiot. Now you have a drunk idiot with a gun. So I don't think you should carry a firearm into a bar. That's just me. I mean, Second Amendments can call me a FUD or whatever they want to call me. I just don't think that's a smart decision on anybody's part. But other than that, I agree with the Supreme Court. I agree with the Second Amendment. If you can legally carry the weapon or purchase, if you can legally purchase a weapon, you should be able to carry it anywhere you want to go, except bars and federal buildings. I don't know why you can't carry it in a federal building, but you know what? Let's just stick with bars and federal buildings. Carry it anywhere else. I think in schools, they should have armed people in schools. I think there's enough retired or ex-military retired police officers that would volunteer to guard schools. And those people are already trained to use those weapons. Some of them have been in combat and know how to act when there's firefight going on. I don't see a problem with that. I don't think putting a sign in front of a school that would say, hey, you can't carry your gun here is going to make a criminal go away. Like, well, shit. They got a sign. I guess they got to find a place that doesn't have a sign. That's my opinion. But again, some states are taking steps to make take away the criminal's advantage. Like everybody can have a gun everywhere now. So now the criminals just can't assume, well, if they're in this building, this Walmart, they can't have a gun. So I can go in there with my gun and no one's going to be able to stop me. Not so fast, Slick. The whole Walmart might be armed. You might be a little shocked. Which brings me to this. We all know who this guy is, Carmelo Anthony, who killed Austin Metcalf at a Texas track meet a while ago. Stabbed him in the heart one time. It had come out that he stabbed him with a cleat tool, and then it became a utility tool, a multi-purpose tool. Now it was a knife. There's a picture of the knife he stabbed him with in the heart. Didn't kill him instantly, but he was pronounced dead on the scene by the paramedics that were called. Carmelo Anthony ran, was caught by police a few hundred yards away, and the police officer was on it's all on video. Police officers on his radio saying, "I caught the guy who allegedly stabbed the victim." You can hear him plainly say, "Not allegedly, I did it. He put his hands on me. I told him not to put his hands on me. He put his hands on me." According to Carmelo Anthony in court, he was being attacked by 4 people. They were punching on him, and he stabbed them in self-defense, and that's why it happened. Come to hear witness testimony, that was not the case. It was him and Metcalf. Metcalf shoved him to get him out from under the tent where he wasn't supposed to be at the track meet in the first place, and then he stabbed him in the heart for that. All the witnesses said the shove was not aggressive. The shove was not threatening. It was meant to get him to leave. A slight, they described it as a slight tap. Like, hey, you need to get out of here. They all said Carmelo Anthony was the aggressor, and he should not have been in the tent in the first place. And in fact, was asked to leave at least 15 times by different people to leave the tent, and he refused. When him and Metcalf were in their discussion, apparently Carmelo Anthony had already had his hand in his backpack on the knife when he said, "Put your hands on me again, and you're going to find out." Carmelo Anthony claimed self-defense based on what he said. Of course, he was found guilty, sentenced to 35 years in prison, and all of a sudden, he is now the victim. I've seen people say, as far as white people need to learn, you can't mess with black boys anymore. There's also been a fake autopsy report released online that says Metcalf was high on fentanyl at the time of the murder, which has been disproven by the FBI, the local coroner's office, and the local police department, that it was fabricated, not true. But of course, this is being circulated around. People are giving him billions of dollars because they say he was only found guilty because it was an all-white jury, which again was found not to be true. There was an American Indian, I believe, someone from the Middle East, 1 or 2 Latinos. So it wasn't an all-white jury. But again, in this country, we victimize the assailant and criminalize the victim. Carmelo Anthony is the poor boy who didn't do anything wrong. He's being picked on and did what he thought he had to do to get out of there safe. The truth is, 2 lives were ended that day. The Metcalfs lost a son, and Anthony's lost their son. The only difference is Carmelo's family can come see him on Sundays for 2 hours every week. Metcalf's family will never see their son again. They can go sit with him at his gravesite. It's always sad when someone this age. I think he was 16 when this happened, and because he was 18 when he was convicted. So he was a minor. Where were his parents? What kind of upbringing are you brought up with where you feel it's okay to stab somebody? Who brought you up where you feel it's okay to carry a knife with you on the school property? It's not like he was going to school in New York City or Los Angeles where it's crime-ridden and there's gunfights in the school. He was going to school in Texas, for God's sakes. And they weren't even in school. They were at a track meet. What kind of upbringing do you have where you feel that's okay? That's why I so much don't blame Carmelo as I blame his parents. Don't get me wrong. He still bears accountability. He's the one that stabbed the other young man and killed him. He is right where he should be. Maybe for a little bit longer, but he's right where he should be. His parents get to walk away scot-free. And they get to blame everybody else in the world for their piss-poor parenting. Oh, my baby didn't mean to do it. It wasn't like your son was across the room and threw a knife as he was running away and it accidentally hit him. Your son held the knife in his hand and jammed it into his chest. So he was within arm's reach. He knew what he was doing. The question is, why did he think that was okay? What kind of home life did this boy have where murder, or at the very least, assault with a knife, seemed acceptable? I want to know that. I want someone to answer that question for me. Why would that have been okay? Why was that his go-to? Why not just get up and leave? You were asked 15 times to leave. And I'm pretty sure the asking wasn't polite. It might started off polite, but I'm sure it got rather abrasive towards the end. So why not just leave? Especially if you're there by yourself. And like he says, there was 20 other people there. How stupid do you got to be to stay in a room with 15 people who are getting aggravated with you and you think they're going to attack you? Why would you stay? I'm 54 and I'd have got the hell out of there. I'm not catching that ass whooping for a track meet. And I'm definitely not going to kill anybody over a track meet when he put his hands on me. If everybody who put their hands on somebody got murdered, there'd be bodies stacked miles high on every street corner. So that's not an excuse. Again, what kind of upbringing did he have? They raised $600 and some odd thousand on GoFundMe, but they couldn't get him a lawyer? They couldn't afford a good lawyer? What do you mean you couldn't afford a good lawyer? You had almost $1 million. Well, we had to spend it on security and a new vehicle. Why did you need a new vehicle? And would you get like the Suburban XLE 3 million? Why couldn't you just get like a Ford Fusion? You had almost $1 million and your son had a shit lawyer. Again, what about his parents? And why is he being victimized? Why is he the one that's the poor guy? Same thing with George Floyd. Donald brought that up. George Floyd's a hero. He was killed by a racist maniac cop. He was just trying to surrender. Let's not forget that that whole video, at no point was George Floyd not resisting arrest. At no point was he not fighting with the police. And let's not forget his criminal history. Home invasion, and he pointed a loaded weapon at a pregnant woman's belly, robbing her house. Drug convictions, other convictions. But he's a hero. There's statues of that piece of shit throughout the city. You don't think there's going to be statues of Carmelo soon? Really? We live in a country where it's ass backwards. We're not a bloodthirsty country. We're not looking to hurt people, but we are looking for accountability. And we are looking for you to be held accountable when you do stuff like this. No excuse. You had your day in court. You were found guilty. End of discussion. You file your appeal. It's all going to be based on racism. There'll be nothing based on fact. They're going to try to appeal to the emotional part of the court system. I think 94% of all appeals fail. So I don't hold out hope that he's going to get out. And I hope his legal team has told him that during the course of an appeal, they can also increase his sentence. It's not just only good that can come from an appeal. Bad can come from an appeal. If they feel he was under-sentenced, they can resentence him and give him more. Remember, he was looking at 5 to 99 years. He got 35. They can increase that to 99 years. As it stands now, after 17 years, and he'll be what? 34? 33? When he's eligible for parole? He'll still be a young man. Have his whole life in front of him. Metcalf? Not so much. But we're not supposed to feel sorry for him. We're not supposed to feel sorry for his parents. Carmelo and his family, that's who we're supposed to be feeling sorry for. That's who we should idolize. That's who we want to defend. Man's a murderer. And that's not just a false allegation. He's a convicted murderer. Convicted of first-degree murder, which means it wasn't spur of the moment. It means he could have avoided it many different ways. It means he chose to stay in a situation while holding a weapon that no one could see and then challenge somebody and then stab them. He knew the outcome. He got charged with exactly what he should have been charged with. I think they even gave the jury the option to go with manslaughter. I believe. Don't hold me to that, but I think that was another instruction the judge gave that they could also consider the lesser charge of manslaughter, which would have been like a crime of passion. Like he just, oh my God, and reacted. But we need to get over that in America. The bad guys aren't the good guys. The bad guys aren't the victims. They don't deserve our sympathy. They don't deserve our time or money. Up until they're proven guilty, while they're innocent, yes, we should give them the benefit of the doubt until they're found guilty by a jury of their peers or a judge of good standing in that state. Once that verdict comes out, all the pity, all the sorrow stops for them. You're convicted of a crime. You're going to do your time. If you can't do the time, don't do the crime. That's simple. Don't go around stabbing folks in the chest if you don't want to go to prison for many, 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 many years. And again, I want somebody to find out how his parents raised him. We'll be right back.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
Welcome back. This is the Conservative Corner. I'm Seth Eisenberg. Thanks for hanging out with me. I just found something I want to read to you. There's a list of 10 cities that are considered the most dangerous places in the U.S. for 25-26. I'll read the top 5. Number 1 on the list is Memphis, Tennessee. Number 2 is Oakland, California. Number 3 is St. Louis, Missouri. Number 4, Baltimore, Maryland. And number 5, Detroit, Michigan. Those are your top 5 most dangerous cities in the U.S. for the year 25 through 26. These aren't just made up because they don't like the cities. It's based on statistics, crime stats, FBI, local police department, states. These are dangerous cities, which is sad because a lot of good people live in those cities and they have no choice but to be there. Another thing I found that I wanted to read to you all about the earthquake. The 7.2 magnitude earthquake is classified as a major event, like I told you. In terms of energy, this is how much energy a 7.2 magnitude earthquake releases. It's equivalent to roughly the detonation of 32 million tons of TNT, 2,000 times the energy of the Hiroshima atomic bomb. That's how much energy a 7.2 magnitude earthquake has. 32 million tons of TNT. That's a lot. It's almost hard to comprehend. But that's what the people in Venezuela are dealing with now. So again, if you can send money, if you're in a position where you can do that, or I don't know if there's probably going to be food drives or clothing drives, do it. I think your best bet, if you're going to do that, would be the local church that you know of or a state organization. If it's something online, please, please, please investigate it before you send them your money or anything, because a lot of scum is going to come out now and try to fleece the good people who are trying to help others and use this as their lure. So be very careful. Churches, schools, organizations that are run by the state are your best bets. Private organizations, please look into. Don't just assume that it's on the up and up because they say we're going to help. We've been here for years. And yes, Donald, that was an act of God. That's I think earthquakes are just, and I don't mean to downplay it. I don't mean to try to make it sound funny, but I think an earthquake is just God knocking at the door to remind you that he's still in charge. Like, don't forget about me. Just my opinion. So now we're in the third segment, and we've been pretty serious the last couple segments. So I want to, again, take this time to kind of like exhale, have some fun, and look at some crazy-ass news stories or crazy things going on in the news that caught my eye. So here's the first one. It's been on the news a little bit, not much. They found, I think, 2 or 3 ducks that had died in the reflecting pool. Of course, the main suspect of those deaths is Donald Trump, because he has nothing better to do with his time then sneak down to the reflecting pool in D.C. in the middle of the night and strangle ducks and then throw them into the reflecting pool. If you are not, if this still shocks you that this is what the liberals do with their free time, I don't know what to tell you. If a dog got hit in my neighborhood in the middle of the street, there'd be people who would blame Donald Trump. The heat wave that's coming up, somehow, somewhere, some pinhead basement dwelling liberal is going to make it Donald Trump's fault. It's because of Donald Trump. These people have nothing better to do with their time. Ducks die all the time. Insanity. I mean, nobody wants to see Daffy dead, but shit happens. And not everything that happens is because of one person. Shit happens. This is a funny story. A giraffe had escaped from a zoo in Texas, and was on the prowl for several days. As a reticulated giraffe was on the loose in Texas for several days, has finally been caught 4 miles from the zoo. If you're looking at this picture, I know pictures don't give depth or anything like that. There's no real perspective. But that giraffe looks like it's taller than most of the trees around it. And it's a giraffe. Not a missing dog or a missing cat. It's a giraffe. How did a giraffe taller than the trees around it in Texas, America, not get spotted for 4 days? How does that happen? It's obviously massive, doesn't fit in, and it's a giraffe. And nobody noticed it for 4 days. Like, we didn't see it. Oh, we just found it. 4 miles from the zoo, they found the giraffe. It's impressive for the giraffe. I mean, you got guys in Texas that go hunting every day, and nobody saw, like, oh, that's a weird set of print tracks right there. The hell is that? That'd be funny if it were a giraffe, wouldn't it? Yeah, it'd be crazy, but we're in Texas. There's no giraffes here. Let's keep going. 4 days. It's like that movie, The Fugitive. They couldn't find him. Texas is a large state, but it was only 4 miles from the zoo. 4 miles. I mean, you could look at Texas is pretty flat, and it's taller than the trees around it. So all you really got to do is get on top of a building and look and go, oh, there it is. I see its head. So hats off to the giraffe. That's impressive. Here's a picture of reason 4,428 million. I will never go paddleboarding in the ocean so far from shore that I can't see it. Just me. Paddleboarders were stalked by a great white shark off the California coast. And you can see them both out there paddling, whatever the paddleboarders do. On June 24th, the drone camera captured footage when 2 paddleboarders found themselves stalked by a great white shark off the California coast. Shark was apparently 10 feet long. So it's probably as big as a paddleboard they're on, I would guess. It seems like it's, yeah, they're probably looking at their phones. And they're paddling, doing their own thing. And I'm surprised the shark got that close to them. I mean, didn't they hear the music? I don't know how they couldn't have heard the music of the shark getting closer. But that's why I'll never, ever paddleboard. That is, no. And what are you going to do? You're on your paddleboard on your first date. You look down, and we're going to die. I guess I don't have to pay for dinner tonight, at least. That's a good thing. I guess if it were a bad date, it'd probably be okay. Like, oh, shit. This is how I'm checking out on a bad date. In the middle of the ocean, off the coast of California, I'm going to bite it. But yeah, no. Or yeah, they could have done that. I don't know why they didn't do that with the giraffe. You're right, Henry. They could have sent the Civil Air Patrol out. Something. For 4 days, that sneaky giraffe eluded authorities. So yeah, that's California. Go swim and get eaten, or you live and you get taxed to death. Either way, California doesn't like you. Such a dangerous place, California. Well, we're almost at that time, and I don't want to take any more of your time from you. So before we end up closing up shop for the night, again, this is the Conservative Corner. I'm Seth Eisenberg. I'm on the last Sunday of every month at 7 o'clock. Tonight was a little late start. I had not been feeling well, so I wanted to take it easy today. I'll be on Wednesdays on the Pulse. That starts at 8, every Wednesday at 8. Then you have Alexandra Levine, All In, 2 days, 1 day a week now while she's helping Tim Eisenberg run his campaign. Then we have Damon, Damon who's on Jersey Shore, Damon Galdo, 2 days a week still, I believe. He's also running for Jersey Congress, District 1. Then we have state or New Jersey State Delegate House Watch. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name. I believe that's Fridays, first and third month or third day of the week, I believe. Third day of the week of the month with Jack and Constance. Very good show. If you're in New Jersey, it's very informative. They go in depth into what's going through the State House and kind of go over and have some speakers on it. The second and fourth Tuesdays. Second and fourth Tuesdays for that show. And again, I'm on the last Sunday of every month. And again, if you want to be a podcaster, go to our website, fill out the application. And if you want to, again, sponsor a particular show or the network as a whole, same website, same menu, and just pick sponsor and follow the instructions. Or you can email me or any of the other podcasters, and we can help you with that. You can find me on Facebook at the Conservative Corner, or on X at the Conservative Seth, or here on Wednesdays at 8. Also on Wednesdays at 8, we have Elena Barbera, the based mother. Great chick. Very smart, does a big advocate for students in school and protecting them from the deviants that congregated schools, like the drag queens and things like that. She's sometimes guest host or just guests on the Pulse on Wednesdays. So yeah, we got a full menu here. So usually I end my show with giving an opinion, and I'm going to give my opinion. And sometimes it has something to do with the show. This time it really doesn't. It's more of an opinion. This one is definitely an opinion, with no questions about that. Let me find where I put this. 1 second. Here we go. Not very prepared tonight. I do apologize. Okay, so I'm going to read you my opinion. You don't have to like it. You can tell me to pound sand, kick rocks, whatever you want to do. But I'll share it with you when you tell me what you think about it. 250 years ago in Philadelphia, 56 delegates from 13 colonies affixed their signature to a bold document that proclaimed liberty and self-governance. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those words ignited a revolution and inspired generations worldwide. The 250th anniversary is not just another birthday, it's a quarter millennium checkpoint. The United States has grown from a fragile experiment into a democracy of global power, weathering civil war, world wars, economic crisis, social upheavals, and technological revolutions. This milestone offers a moment to celebrate progress while confronting unfinished work. Communities across the country are planning enhanced celebrations, reenactments of the Declaration's reading, naturalization ceremonies welcoming new legal citizens, family activities, and spectacular fireworks. Whether attending a local parade, visiting historical sites like the National Archives, or simply gathering with family, the day encourages pausing to appreciate the journey. In an era of rapid change and division, this Independence Day stands as a timely reminder that America's story is ongoing. The founders pledged their lives, their fortunes, and sacred honor. Today's generation inherits that legacy, not as perfect inheritors, but as stewards tasked with renewing the promise for the next 250 years. This Independence Day, let the fireworks not just light the sky, but illuminate shared values: liberty, opportunity, and the pursuit of a more perfect union. Happy 250th, America, and many more. Again, that's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. But if you don't agree with it, why are you still here? Plenty of other countries you can go live in and maybe be just as happy. So everybody have a good Independence Day. Don't call it July 4th. July 4th, it cheapens it. It's Independence Day. That's the true No Kings Day. All the morons can have all the No Kings marches they want any other time of the year. They don't mean anything. This is the legitimate No Kings holiday. This is when we kick the shit out of a king and put him out of our country. Independence Day. So thank you very much. I hope you all had a good time. If you have any questions, again, you can contact me where I told you before, X at Conservative Seth, or the Conservative Corner at Facebook. Be sure to be here Wednesday at 8 o'clock for the Pulse, where we all get together and talk about the issues of the day. Again, Seth Eisenberg with the Conservative Corner. Thank you for your time. Have a good weekend, what's left of it, and enjoy your week. And I'll see you on Wednesday.
Hearties, you've just weathered another bold voyage through the stormy seas of truth with the Conservative Corner podcast. Hoist your sails high and keep plundering the treasures of liberty, family values, and unyielding freedom. The winds of tyranny may howl fierce and furious, but true conservative buccaneers like you never surrender the ship. Stay fierce, stand fast, and chart your course for a stronger tomorrow. Fair winds and following seas. Until next time. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe.